Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Explainer. Okay, I am absolutely thrilled to map out today's topic with you, even if, honestly, the material itself is thoroughly chilling. Today, we're structurally breaking down 5 truly disturbing, verified true stories sourced from regular people. We're going to take this thematic journey, examining how perfectly mundane, safe environments, from our childhood backyards to the quiet glow of our laptops, can just rapidly turn sinister. We'll dissect the timelines and the mechanics of these terrifying encounters, moving from physical intrusions right into the hidden and frankly terrifying dangers of the digital world. So let's get into it. It's me! Open the door. Simple, right? But context is literally everything. This chilling quote perfectly encapsulates what we're looking at today. It really illustrates just how quickly an ordinary, peaceful night can escalate into a direct, visceral threat. Keep this specific phrase in the back of your mind because we are going to return to the horrifying context of it a little bit later. But first, let's start with a scenario I think we've all experienced or can at least understand.
Story number 1, the backyard tent stalker.
So our source for this was a young boy who is super jealous of his older brother's Boy Scout trips, right? So he convinces his parents to let them set up a tent and a fire pit right in their own spacious, fenceless backyard. It was supposed to be this fun, secure childhood memory. But watch how this night deteriorates. They spend the evening safely in their sleeping bags, playing Super Mario Bros. 2 on their Game Boys. Totally normal stuff. But hours later, right around midnight, the younger brother wakes up restless. The tent is dark, save for a little moonlight. His older brother is gone. Presumably, he just went back inside the house to sleep. So the kid unzips the tent just a crack to check if the coast is clear, only to see a grown stranger sitting by their dying fire pit in the dead of night. Terrified, the boy zips the tent back up and just hides inside. But moments later, the shadow of the man completely blocks the moonlight. And then, agonizingly slowly, the tent zipper begins to drag downward.
And man, this brilliantly illustrates the sheer terror of physical vulnerability. The man didn't just tear the tent open. He unzipped it just a few inches. You know how tents naturally have that little gap at the bottom where the zippers don't fully seal? Well, through that tiny, unsealed gap in the fabric, the boy saw the white of a single eye in the darkness, looking directly at him. And the eye squinted, which meant the man was smiling in the dark. The boy finally screamed his lungs out, alerting his dad, who burst out the back door and sent the intruder running off into the night.
Now you'd think the nightmare ended there, right? Nope. About a month later, the boy is playing at his Catholic school's recess in this concrete, fenced-off yard. A man walks up to the fence from the street asking for directions. When the boy refuses to talk to a stranger, like he was taught, the man leans in and says, "Your name's Chris, right? You don't remember me, do you?" Guys, it was the exact same man from the backyard. The boy ran, and the man vanished, again, leaving us to wonder, just how closely had he been tracking this child? Moving on to story number 2, the smiling oceanfront house. Okay, picture this. A 21-year-old finds what looks like an amazing Facebook Marketplace deal for a cream-colored sectional couch and a Cannondale mountain bike. The seller negotiates really easily and invites him to pick it up at dusk at his sprawling oceanfront home. Sounds great. But when the buyer pulls up the long, secluded dirt driveway, he spots this totally out-of-place, beaten-up Mercury Sable parked at what's basically a multi-million-dollar mansion. And on the front door is a massive red flag, a yellow Post-it note reading, "Doorbell broken, please use back door." Now, in hindsight, this specific note was deliberately designed to lure the buyer away from the front of the property, away from the driveway, and around to this isolated cliffside backyard overlooking the Pacific Ocean. So the buyer follows the instructions. He knocks on the back sliding glass door. Nothing. No answer. He waits on the deck for a bit, taking in the ocean sunset, then decides to walk down the freshly cut grass to the cliff edge. But when he turns back to face the house, the scene has entirely changed. The blinds on every single window, which had been drawn completely closed just minutes prior, were now wide open. And at every single window stood a person, perfectly still, literally like a statue. And the most unsettling detail? Every single face was locked in a frozen, wide smile, just staring right at him in the yard.
The buyer didn't wait around to find out. He sprinted to his truck and sped out of there. He stopped at a neighbor's house down the road, who immediately called the actual homeowner. Turns out the homeowner wasn't even in town. When the police investigated, nothing had been stolen, the beat-up car was gone, the blinds were closed again, but all 3 doors to the house were unlocked. Which leaves us with this haunting question: what exactly were they planning to do with him in that cliffside backyard?
All right, story number 3, the midnight pool intruder.
This one takes place at a private residence in Pennsylvania, surrounded by dense, pitch-black woods that stretch for half a mile. During the day, while setting up for a small party, the host hears this distinct, slow, throat-clearing cough coming from just inside the tree line. Creepy, but he brushes it off. Fast forward to 2 a.m. The party's over, everyone's gone home, and the host is in bed. Suddenly, he hears a splash. Looking out his second-story window, he sees a stranger swimming calmly from one end of his pool to the other. When the host yells out, the intruder stops, stares straight up at the window, and climbs out. But he doesn't run away. Instead, he marches fast and direct to the back sliding glass door, effortlessly opening a lock the host swore he had secured. Then come the footsteps. Slow, sticky, wet footprints coming up the hardwood stairs. Pausing right outside the bedroom, with water literally dripping onto the floor, the intruder tries the locked bedroom handle. Once, twice, 3 times.
And now we return to our opening quote. While the victim is desperately whispering to a 911 operator, the intruder knocks 3 times on the bedroom door. Then, in a low, perfectly calm voice, a man in his 30s says, "It's me. Open the door." The host screams that he's on the phone with the police. After an agonizing 5-second silence, the wet footsteps retreat back down the stairs and out the front door. Guys, he was never caught.
Let's move to story number 4, Dark Web Family Secrets.
So, we're moving from the physical terror of our own backyards into the unregulated, totally anonymous terror of digital spaces, with a story out of Detroit. Here's the setup. A 16-year-old boy named Vincent, living in a highly abusive and neglectful household, seeks refuge in anonymous dark web chat rooms. He creates a fake persona, Alex, age 23. He begins trauma dumping and forming this really intense emotional bond with a user named Susie, who claims to be 22. They become each other's sole emotional support system, confessing their deepest pain and darkest secrets. Eventually, they agree to meet up in person at a rainy bus stop.
When Vincent pulls back his soaking wet hoodie at the bus stop, the woman staring back at him isn't a 22-year-old stranger. It's his own mother. The tragic irony here is absolutely devastating. A mother and son, completely alienated in their own home, had unknowingly been pouring their hearts out to one another online. Horrified by the realization of what they had become to each other, the mother steps back, screams, and just runs off into the rain. She never came home. She vanished completely, leaving her son with a devastating secret that no one else knows.
And finally, story number 5, the cannibalistic college roommate.
This nightmare takes place at the University of Wisconsin. A sophomore who was just sort of exploring dark web links stumbles upon a site selling worn, stained clothing belonging to deceased individuals, including children. Now, obviously, it goes without saying that this is deeply illegal, heinous, and something we absolutely condemn. But it's vital context because it led this student to another site that was completely disguised as a high-end gourmet cooking blog. But instead of beef or chicken, the protein listed was human meat. It included horrific clinical preparation notes, even targeting those under 18. An absolutely vile discovery. The student showed this to his quiet computer science roommate, Marcus, thinking, "Hey, look at this creepy fake website." But Marcus's reaction was completely different. He became entranced. The website basically triggered a dormant, horrific obsession within him.
Marcus quickly moves from an online observer to an active predator. I mean, the shift is terrifying. He starts staring blankly at students on campus. He follows a girl named Emma so relentlessly that campus security actually has to issue a warning. He then corners another girl, Sophia, in the laundry room, intensely questioning her about her weight and medical history. Finally, he purchases a meat cleaver, heavy-duty plastic sheeting, industrial cleaning supplies, and zip ties. He was literally following the instructions from the website to the letter.
And this right here brilliantly illustrates why this explainer matters, because the digital world almost cost a life in this instance. One night, the roommate comes home early from a frat party to find their apartment door deadbolted. Pressing his ear to the wood, he hears muffled crying and a cut-short scream. He sprints to flag down security, they break down the door, and they find Sophia. She's bound with extension cords and duct tape in the corner. Marcus had grabbed her outside the library and was out buying his final supplies. He was caught just 3 blocks away, fully intending to butcher and cook her that very night.
Marcus is now serving a 25-year minimum sentence. But the roommate who originally found that website is left haunted by a thought that I really want to leave you with today. If a simple link on a laptop can reach out and completely shatter the safety of a college apartment, how many other people found that same website? How many others got the exact same ideas as Marcus? And terrifyingly, how many of them actually followed